Budda, and you're watching Dr. Guitar, a show for all you guitarists out there. In today's episode, I will be showing you my December 2017 pedal board. And why do I say my December 2017? Because I'm always changing boards, I'm always changing presets, I'm always changing everything. That's the fun of it. I'm always including new pedals. I'm also keeping a lot of the usual suspects in my boards, but I like to change things for just for fun. So I will give you a guidance on my pedal board. I'm using 2 amps right now. I'm using a stereo setup, as I've shown in last episode. I'm using a stereo rig, so I'm using a Supro Thunderbolt, which is a 15-inch speaker, 35 watt combo with volume and tone, just that, nothing more. And I'm using the Tremoverb, which is a 22 watt combo with reverb and tremolo, bass, treble, and volume, and that's it. And they sound like this just by themselves. I love it. The reason why I use it stereo, I've covered it a lot on the last episode, so please, if you want to know more about it, go and watch it. But I like the response of both amps, being this 10-inch speaker and this a 15-inch speaker. They react differently, and they are stereo even when I'm not using stereo effects, because you have different time reactions from both amps, so you feel it like a stereo. And I always use the reverb on the Tremoverb a little bit, like this is. Sometimes more, sometimes less, it depends. But I always use it on because it gives me a little tail, but I always get the front end of the note from the Thunderbolt, so I'm covered. I'm not always wet, not always dry, so it's a real great combination. Then for the board, I'm using the ES8, the Boss effect switching system, with a lot of cables, as you can see here, and I'm using it. I'm getting more and more comfortable with it and more used to it. So here it is in manual mode, so I can turn on and off all the pedals. The compressor, which is the SP compressor by Exotic, and it sounds like this. It just thickens the note without having the overdrive in it. I'm using it, as you can see, I'm using it with the blend almost at noon, a little bit of volume at unity gain, and on the low compression settings. So I'm not looking for compression, or for listenable compression. I'm just looking for a little more sustain, and for the chords to be ringing a little. Without it. And with this amps in particular, they already compress, and that's why I really like them, and because they are low powered amps, so they are on a great spot of compression. As when I play with the Lone Star, it has 100 watts, so it's never compressing. And if you push the gain to compress a little bit, you start to introduce overdrive, and sometimes you want a real clean but really compressed and sustained. So the compressor is a great tool. And I have all my presets set with the compressor on the clean tones, but the beautiful thing is that I can switch it off, and even when the preset has it on, if it is off, it is off, and I don't use it. So depending on the gig, depending on how hot I'm running the amps, I can turn it off and it's no longer there. Second in the chain is the Fuzz Factory ZVEX, which I love, and I love because of its gated fuzz. It sounds like this. The beautiful thing is when you lower your volume, because it creeps up a lot more. And it can be a really heavy fuzz. For example, in this one, now I'm introducing the M5 also. So I'm using the M5 as a pitch down, so it's an octave down to the tone. Let's go manual again. I have the Vibe, which is the Roger Mayer, this pedal, the Roger Mayer Voodoo Vibe, the Teese one. You have the speed here. And the intensity here. It's a Vibe. Then I have Roger Mayer. The number 4 is the Roger Mayer Octave Fuzz, which is great. This is a great pedal, and it reacts perfectly to your volume, so the Octavia has this really great thing, like a ring modulator, because if you play 2 notes at a time, it will confuse himself. So I really love to play it on E, because I can leave the E string sounding and pick any note. I play it single noted, it also has it, but it's not that pronounced. This is probably my favorite pedal of all time. Then the Jan Ray, which is the Vemuram Jan Ray. It's an overdrive, but it can do a lot of things. At this moment, I'm using it as my solo pedal or my heavy riff. Heavy not by having a lot of distortion, but by having a lot of bass and power into it. So it's my distortion. Without it. So it has bass, treble, volume, and drive. The drive is really low, but you can set it to be really dirt. You just push the bass up and it's a fuzz. Like a great pedal, it cleans up really nice. I bought it because of its versatility, but I normally use it almost as a great tube screamer. So a little bit of drive, a little bit of bass, a little bit of body into it. And a little bit of volume boost so I can be on top of the band, but that's it. Not much of a drive. I'm not much of a drive guy. Then I have the new incorporated broadcast. It doesn't even have a tag over there, but this is the broadcast, the Hudson Electronics broadcast, and it's basically I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of based on a Neve preamp, which is what I usually use to record guitars with, but it's a mic preamp. So it has this Marconi style knobs, which are very Neve-like. But this is a low cut, this is the gain, and then you have two volumes, one for the low setting and one for the high setting. So the high setting is predetermined by the internal trim pots, so you have more gain, predetermined more gain, depending on where you have this gain set. And this is a bass cut. I usually cut it so it's a little thin, it's a little Vox sounding, it's a little shiny. So it's my drive, it's my rhythm drive usually. It's very dynamic. If you play soft, it plays really soft. And if you dig in, it digs in. So it's great for chords when you don't want super distorted tone. So I usually have it for rhythm when I play chords, because I've said this a lot of times, but it took me a long time to get it. The more notes you play into your overdrive, the more notes together, of course, more sound you have. It's very different to have a string resonating by itself or a full F chord. You have 6 strings. You almost have 6 times the volume going out of your guitar because you have 6 strings ringing at the same time. So whenever I usually find it necessary to have a solo overdrive and a rhythm overdrive. Not just because of the bump in volume, but because my rhythm overdrive needs to be a little cleaner than the solo. Because I'm cleaning it up by playing less notes. So have a notice. If I play a G chord, with a Hudson, now I play just a G. It doesn't have that fatness, so I have the Jan Ray. Get it? It's almost the same drive, but it's a lot fuller. So this is great for single notes, but the broadcast allows me to play full chords without overcoming the bass player in the band. So that's why I have 2 overdrives. And then the Hudson also has a great surprise. It has a second side to it, so it's a fuzz almost. So it's a great tone. Then I have the volume, the wah-wah pedal connected to the volume set on the ES8. So I have it always connected. Not always, because you have to patch by patch, you have to turn it on. But I have it here as a regular wah, but in the signal path. So it's a wah-wah, but it's a great wah. It's a Teese real McCoy picture wah. It's a replica of what Hendrix used to use. And why do I have it patched within the patch cables if I turn it on and off with my pedal, with my foot? Well, I like to have my wah-wah after my fuzzes, because it gets really, really dramatic. So for example, if I have it here, I have it after the Vex and after the Octavia. I have it really here between the 4 and the 5. It gives you this duck thing, this really strange thing. Let me show you how it sounds if I change the order. Let me change the order. So it doesn't sound that great if you use it before the fuzz, because the fuzz is so overdriven, it doesn't allow you to hear the difference. And when it goes after the fuzz, it's kind of a filter effect. It's really a filter effect. So it sounds super cool and delicious, and I love it. And it's a great, great, great solo boost. So if I have it here, I push the wah-wah into the high treble thing. So you really cut through the mix. So you really cut through a high drum, a loud drummer. Okay? Okay, so now it's down to the bank 7 and 8, which is 7 is my M5. And I've done an episode on my M9, so the M5 is practically the same without the loop ability, and with just being able to have one preset at a time. But the presets I usually use is the octave down, for Tony, my German friend, for example. So that's it. And then I have presets like analog with modulation, which is a Vemuram Man sounding like delay. Great delay. Spring reverb, which I use quite often. It's a great reverb, and it's stereo, so it makes it sound stereo. A reverse delay. Great Hendrix style. The Leslie, of course, one of the main reasons I use the M5 for. And then I have two speeds for the Leslie. The slow with the fast, and the slow is really great. It's a great tone. The tremolo is awesome on the M5 too. And I have two presets on the M5 here for the tremolo. The exact same one, but this preset number 4 is a tremolo, fixed tremolo, everything fixed. So whenever I want this speed, which is my generic tremolo, I use this preset. But I have a tap tempo preset in here, a tremolo with tap tempo, which I believe it's 2. Because the ES8 communicates with the M5 via MIDI. So whenever I change preset, it changes presets on my M5. And if I have a tap tempo here, which I have a tap tempo on number 6 when I'm on preset mode. This is the tremolo. If I tap it, so I have it here set to 120. So let's write it, and it is on 355. If I am in another preset, on Will to Live, for example, then I changed to I Had a Woman But She Left Me, 355. Again, I change it preset. When I come back, it's on 355. So it allows me to have a tap tempo tremolo, which is great for some things. Then I also have Spring Reverb. I showed you the penner, which is fucking amazing. And I can also pan it. I can also tap it here. I cannot override it. Okay. Okay, so the penner, it's super great because it allows me to pan between each of the amps. Okay, so it's moving from one amp to the other. A synth one. An alto wah. Which is great. A growler, which is another synth. This is great, and you can even blend in your guitar tone. I love it. And then you have the swell, which is auto volume setting. If you want to know more about the the M series, please watch the episode about the Line 6 M9, which is the same as this, but this is great, a great piece of gear. And then I have the number 8, which are my analog delays. So it used to be number 7, that's why it's 7 here. I have to change it, but since I've gone stereo, I've chosen to have the second delay, which is the Carbon Copy, and it is a great delay. And I added to have two different analog delays on each amp. So I have my my Analogman ARDX20, which has 2 presets. It has a slapback one, and it is only on the Treble, on the Thunderbolt. Let me turn off the reverb so you can hear it better. And it has a long delay. Only going to the Thunderbolt, okay? Then I have the Carbon Copy only going to the Tremoverb. And this is the beauty of these pedals. I get lost a lot. I'm playing and I forget I'm recording a video to show you the pedal because I'm having so much fucking fun. Okay, the great thing about it is when you turn on both analog delays in stereo. So the Analogman is going to the Thunderbolt, the Carbon Copy is going to the Tremoverb, which is now without reverb. So this is what happens. Is there any better thing than this? No, it ain't. Great, because you have so much delay, it feels like reverb unless you play rhythmic stuff. Okay, it's incredible. It's really great sounding, and this is it. And for the final thing that I didn't mention is my Analogman Beano boost, which is a treble booster, and by itself it's not on the ES8 because it likes to hear the guitar first, so it needs to be one of the first in the chain, and here it is really the first in the chain. So the guitar gets connected to it. By itself, it sounds like this. So it's a little aggressive in the mid-range. Can push it a little more. Turn on the reverb again. Usually doesn't sound good with a clean amp, but due to the characteristics of the Supros, they are not clean. They are on the edge of breakup, and they are compressing, so it sounds really fucking good in the room. But it sounds really great when you use another overdrive. Let's plug the Jan Ray, so the Beano boost is going into the Jan Ray. Fucking great. And that's it. It's very simple. I still have a mute switch to tune my guitar with the Polytune 2, which is over there. It's not in the circuit. It's just there for tuning. And I have the ES8 set for presets. So I have one bank selected for each song. So bank number 14 is Will to Live, which is a Budda Power Blues song. Bank number 13 is Love and Hate. Bank number 11 is She's Gone. It's the names of the songs. And then I have, for example, here in this first preset, I have it set with the comp, the compressor, the Exotic SP compressor, delay and reverb. And the delay is only the Analogman on a slow setting. So it's this intro. Then I change for the second preset, which is the same thing but with a little drive on it. So I basically turned on the Jan Ray. Okay? On the third preset, it's the fuzz. It's only the Z-Vex, and it turns off everything else. The reverb you're hearing is from the Tremoverb. The third preset, it's the vibe, compressor again, reverb. And if I feel like it, I can turn on the carbon copy too. So it's a super spatial sound. And I do that with just really simple flick of a button. So I have, for each song, I never use more than 4 presets per song. So I only have available switches from 1 to 4. Well, that's it. I hope you have liked the show. I hope this has been helpful to you. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and share it with the world. We'll see each other next week. Bye bye.